Yo, this a tribute. Celebrating 25 years. The anniversary of Chris Boomer Berman's career. ESPN.
Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman.
Chris Berman. Nicknames of all sorts.
What? Charles Moscow on the Hudson delivers. John, tonight, let it be Lowenstein sends it to center field. Way back. God, tonight, let it be Lowenstein.
Yeah. Hey, yo, Gary Sheffield, a dream.
John, tonight, let it be Lowenstein.
Billy Lima Bean.
Sit coffee and bream.
Gone, welcome home, Mattingly.
Me and Willie McGee.
Frank Tanana Daiquiri.
Jose, lean on me.
White, good and plenty.
Craig Shipley's, believe it or not.
Chuck Chip off the old non-block.
Mike Ray Scott.
Ron say hey.
Jimmy Alfred Hitchcock. Candyman Maldonado.
Oh, Jose, can you see Canseco?
Back. It's gone.
Mark Amazing Grace.
Barry, you was Bonds.
Natron means business.
Danny Airy Canal.
Andre Bad Moon Rising.
Bill Bates Motel.
He could go all the way. Touchdown.
ESPN. Worldwide leader in sports. Swami Chris Berman.
Nicknames of all sorts.
What?
The Swami put to rap. Who'd have thunk it possible 25 years ago? Our thanks to our man Remedy with that song. Some names I hadn't thought of for a long time. The list goes on, and dare we say, way back in the annals of sports. I can tell you that it was an accident that 1,500 nicknames later became a staple. But they were once banned in Bristol. Here's the evolution of the nicknames.
The beauty of what went on in 1979 at ESPN was it was a work in progress. And the one thing that we tried to impress upon everybody was be yourself. Chris took that to the ultimate level, especially with the nicknames.
Mid-June 1980, one night, he just all of a sudden came out with it. John Mayberry's up. And here's Mayberry RFD. And everybody in the control room just started laughing.
It really took off then. Dan, the man from Gladden, was one of my favorites. I remember the first time hearing it, I was cracking up, And I'd get in his ear and go, who?
One thing that Ed Farmer told me with the White Sox is not only is the obvious, Fisk and Eschen handling the guys like Rich 280Z Dotson.
At one point he said, Dennis Upper Eckersley, and that's not real flattering, you know what I'm saying?
We all had nicknames. He was the guy that tapped me with toe tapping Timmy B, the tapster. But as far as the ones that jumped out at me, look, you don't get much better than Bert B. Blyleven.
I still run into a lot of people that, hey, Bert B. home by 11, how are you? What it meant to me was being a pitcher, I wanted my team home by 11 anyway, so it worked in perfect.
John, I am not a crook. The first time I heard it was on SportsCenter, and I heard him say it. I'm like, what did he just say? I did not know that was a Richard Nixon saying.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Mark, Eve of Destruction, McGuire. I don't know if I was born when they came out with that song. That was probably really good at that time. If I had to do it again, I think he'd come up with a better one.
The players really got a kick out of it. You knew you arrived if he had a nickname for you, and you didn't have to be a great player.
It was a case of role reversal. The athletes came out and sought out Boomer. They'd come to him and say, oh, I love that nickname, or that one's got to go, or what about this one?
I used to leave Bristol once a week to go on the road and do boxing, and I used to come back to Bristol and tell the management that the one name that the public kept bringing up on the road was, what's Chris Berman really like? And the management didn't think he was exceptional, and I kept saying, you're wrong. Everybody on the road wants to know about Chris.
In 1985, Jack Gallivan was brought in as executive producer.
Here comes this guy in who's, basically going to shake things up. The nicknames struck not just Jack, but others as not being as professional as they wanted to be.
I just don't think you should poke fun at anyone's names. I think it's degrading.
Jack Gallivan went to Chris and said, I don't want you to do nicknames. He was crushed by it, and I said, look, just hang in there.
I remember Chris saying, okay, if you don't want me to do nicknames anymore, do I call Sparky Anderson George? And that was his retort to his boss at ESPN, that if I can't use nicknames, then I'll start calling Whitey Herzog. Okay, and here comes the manager, Doral Herzog.
Nobody was a bigger fan of Boomer and his nicknames than George Brett. And at the beginning of the 1985 playoffs, after this whole thing happened, George Brett got wind of it and was absolutely incensed.
We knew that there would be reporters there, and George said to me, he says, hey, how can we get this thing changed? I said, well, why don't you come up to me during the pregame warm-ups and start ranting and raving?
I said, no, you tell them to keep canning the nicknames. I ain't watching the show anymore. That's part of the show.
What he did was perfect timing, and George kind of ignited that public opinion.
Suddenly, as if magically, back in spring training, the nicknames were back, as they should be, and all was right with the world.
Oh, to be young again, McDowell. And look at the play by Gary Little from Dishart Senior.
Andres, the giant Galarraga, le grand shot. Bob McDonald served it up.
Look where he is now. Boomer has become one of those larger-than-life figures, and one of the reasons why were those nicknames. 25 years later, he's as identifiable as ESPN is.
My one-time baseball broadcast partner and former Dodger pitcher Jerry Rolls-Royce used to tell me, it's a game everybody can play. That's why they work. I can't thank you enough for those daily suggestions I get in the mail to this day, and for those letters of protest that you wrote back in the mid-'80s. They've brought me as close personally to our viewers as anything else that's happened to me here in 25 years. Thank you very much. Coming up, a tribute to a very special partner of mine since ESPN's inception. And we'll have the answer to who's the only team to make the playoffs every season in ESPN's existence. But first, the countdown of ESPN's greatest games continues. Numbers 10 through 6.
In the fifth overtime, Eastern Conference semifinals, the Flyers and Penguins were knotted at 1.
Primo cuts the inside, scores! There it is! Keith Primo wins this game in the fifth overtime.
At halftime, the Lakers trailed the Mavericks by 28.
Shaw for the tie!
Game 4, National League Divisional Series. The Marlins were ahead in games and ahead of the Giants by a run in the night.
He's going home. Snow trying to score. The tag. A collision. He is out at home. And the Florida Marlins have cut down the Giants.
Trailing 14-2 in the bottom of the seventh, the Indians began a comeback against the Mariners.